1. Imagine a colony of over 100 people vanishing without a trace, leaving behind only a single cryptic word carved into a tree. No bodies, no signs of struggle, just silence. This is the story of Roanoke, America's first and greatest unsolved mystery. In 1587, a group of settlers arrived on Roanoke Island in what is now North Carolina. Over 3 years later, when help finally arrived, they found the colony completely deserted with not a soul in sight. All they found was the word CROATOAN carved into a post and the letter CRO carved into a nearby tree. What does it mean? Where did everyone go? And why is this still one of America's greatest mysteries today? This is the story of Roanoke Part 2, Clues and Theories. Now, before we dive into all the theories, let's quickly rewind and get up to speed if you missed our intro to Roanoke. In 1585, Sir Walter Raleigh established the first English colony in North America on Roanoke Island, present-day North Carolina. But due to conflicts with the native tribes and a lack of food and supplies, the colonists abandoned the settlement and sailed back to England. Determined to make the colony successful, Sir Walter Raleigh sent another group of settlers led by John White, who would become the last Englishman to leave the colony alive. The colony thrived for a while, helped along by friendly Native American tribes. But shortly after, tensions rose and the settlers began clashing with the natives. In August of 1587, John White's granddaughter, Virginia Dare, became the first English child born in the Americas. But then news broke that Sir Francis Drake was coming to rescue them. So John White, along with several other colonists, sailed back to England with him. Fast forward 3 years. England had been at war with Spain, so John White's return trip was delayed. When he finally arrived at Roanoke in 1590, he found the entire colony abandoned. There were no people anywhere. Nothing had been looted or destroyed. The houses had been dismantled as if the colonists had planned to come back. And the only clue was the word CROATOAN carved into a post and CRO carved into a nearby tree. So what happened to the more than 100 men, women, and children? And what does the word CROATOAN mean? Well, there are plenty of theories, and we're about to break down the top 5 with maps and animation. Theory number 1. The settlers joined the CROATOAN tribe. The theory goes that the colonists didn't disappear, but instead assimilated with the CROATOAN Native Americans living on Hatteras Island. This theory has quite a few supporters and seems plausible considering the friendly relationship the colonists had with the Croatans early on. One piece of evidence supporting this theory comes from oral traditions from native tribes telling the story of a group of pale-skinned people who came from the east and disappeared inland. Another piece of supporting evidence comes from an 18th century report, which noted that some Native Americans on the coast looked European. The report stated, "There are some of them in Virginia and North Carolina who are of a white or European color, having very little, if any, mixture with the blacks, and yet they are acknowledged to be the descendants of Englishmen." This could either mean that the settlers had intermixed with the Native Americans, or that the Native Americans captured some Europeans during battles with other tribes. However, none of this is definitive proof, and according to history. Most historians agree that whatever happened to the colonists, it probably wasn't friendly. Theory number 2. Death at the hands of hostile tribes. If the colonists didn't leave peacefully, they likely met a violent end. At the time, there were many hostile tribes in the area, including the Powhatan. And according to legend, the chief of the Powhatan proudly claimed to have killed the colonists. While this may sound like a tall tale, the fact that no mass graves or artifacts have been found lends some credibility to the theory. However, it's also possible the colonists weren't killed all in one go. Maybe some were taken captive. Others escaped into the woods and starved, or succumbed to disease, or maybe some managed to escape and join other tribes who may have migrated elsewhere. Theory number 3, starvation or disease. Life at Roanoke was never easy. Supplies were scarce, and the harsh conditions took their toll on the colonists. In the summer of 1587, the English settlers were already low on supplies when a group of 17 colonists left to try and find a new source of food. They never returned. Maybe the settlers who stayed behind continued to search for the missing group until they too ran out of supplies and perished in the wilderness. Perhaps disease broke out and weakened the population, causing the survivors to flee. Whatever the case, this theory seems plausible considering the harsh conditions the settlers endured. Theory number 4, a Spanish attack. At the time of the Roanoke settlement, England and Spain were at war. And while it doesn't seem likely, it's possible a band of Spanish soldiers came across the island and destroyed the colony. If the Spanish military had attacked and killed the colonists, it would explain why there were no bodies or signs of a struggle. However, there are no Spanish records of such an attack, nor have any Spanish artifacts ever been found at the site. Theory number 5, the lost colony was never lost. Some believe the settlers relocated inland and merged with other Native American tribes. While this theory lacks hard evidence, there have been archaeological digs that turned up interesting results. For example, in the 1930s, excavations at Site X in Bertie County, NC uncovered English lead musket balls, clay pipes, and other artifacts from the 16th century. Could these be from the lost colony? It's possible, but there hasn't been any concrete proof. And lastly, we have some wild theories that include aliens, time travelers, or supernatural forces. These fun theories make for great conversation and are often explored in fictional stories like American Horror Story. But in reality, there's no evidence to support them. Now, with all those theories in mind, it's time to hear from you. What do you think happened to the lost colony of Roanoke? Was it a peaceful assimilation with the CROATOAN tribe? Or was it something far more sinister? Let us know your thoughts below. We hope you enjoyed this episode of our show. Be sure to like this video if you learned something new and subscribe if you haven't already. We've got lots of other intriguing historical mysteries waiting to be explored. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget to follow us on social media because we just posted this video there too. And our community is growing by the day. Join the movement and follow us now.